What's up, everybody? Welcome or welcome back. Welcome to the channel if it's your first time. I am here with my good friend Arjuna again, who is just doing audio today, which is totally fine. Still happy to be here. And today we are going to be discussing the most powerful Gallery of Magick books. The books out of the books that we've worked with and what we believe are the most powerful for whatever reasons we believe them to be that way. So, Arjuna, I'm just going to pass the baton over to you.
Cool.
And do you want to start? Do you have a book in
Let's
mind
do
that,
this.
yeah,
I'm so happy to be here. I love talking with you all the time. I love that we got to catch up a little bit. We're many states apart, and we don't get to talk often. So I appreciate being on here. So I am on mute because I got my little kid with me. He's being all rambunctious, and I don't want him on video. So
yeah.
I'm trying to get him situated. So you may hear him cooing and cawing. But yeah, let's talk about this thing. So I'm gonna preface this by saying I haven't really purchased any Gallery of Magic book post 2018, 2019. So I know there's a couple releases and I have not dabbled in those. The ones obviously I have the most experience with are the Wealth ones, which is Wealth Magic. I did that two runs. I believe you have as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've done Magical Cash Book a handful of times, and then what else have I done? Demons of Magic, Angels of Magic. I have Words of Power, but I haven't really done much out of it. And I've also have Angels of Alchemy. Won't
Mm-hmm.
have much out of it. But if I have to put a like if I have to rank, right, my top most powerful Gallery of Magic book, hands down, is Wealth Magic. And the reason I say that is because it's a massive program crammed into one book.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas all the other books necessarily are multiple parts, multiple pieces that you can work independently of each other. They're still powerful, don't get me wrong, but it's not like one long 6-month journey to reach a particular goal. So just from like that aspect of it, that's why I would rank Wealth Magic as number one. It just I think that it takes the crown by default. But
Mm-hmm.
if I take that out, right? Like, and not try to associate by default and associate based on like general rankings, then I want to say either Angels of Magic or Demons of Magic. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason that I put those at high levels is because they are kind of like problem solving, or like there's a particular task that I may have at hand. And I would call upon one of the spirits and I say, hey, can you go work on it? And usually I don't call for like something minor, right? Like I got a headache. There's words of power, angels of power, or whatever those are, the angels of magic, sorry, not the actual headache, but you know what I mean, like something very minor. They're
Do you
better off
mean,
using
are
those
you
books.
referring to sorry, really quick, are you referring, so I know you're referring to like 72 Angels of Magic and Demons
Yeah.
of Magic, and then the one, are you still referring to that about the headache book or the
Okay,
Angels of
sorry. I think
Alchemy?
so. Yeah, the names are so different, right?
Yeah.
So Angels of Alchemy is what I was referring to about
Okay.
the headache thing.
Gotcha.
And then the Words of Power, and
Hmm.
then there's Archangels of Magic, which I really like. I think
Yes.
that so I was mistaken earlier. It's between Archangels and Demons that
Okay.
are my top. I don't
Okay.
know how I would rank which one is better. I've worked with Demons more,
Hmm.
but um yeah.
Yeah.
So depends on the purpose, but I would put those two top.
Those are two really great ones. I really don't have much experience with Demons of Magic. My only experience is that one time in New Orleans. Um,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because that was going on 6 years ago now. But that
Mm-hmm.
was like a powerful experience nonetheless, like super
Mm-hmm.
powerful. And I don't know, I just like I have so many other books that I've been working out of and work out of that it's like I'll get to Demons of Magic, but yeah, not just not yet. But I love that you mentioned Archangels of Magic because I I feel the power in that book. I've only worked with
Mm-hmm.
it like once or twice, but I know like intuitively that there is just so much more in there that would work tremendously, that works tremendously if when I work with it. Like the little bit, and when I think most powerful, when I say most powerful book, I guess a part of what I'm meaning by that, it can be, interpreted in different ways, is a little bit like how powerful the spirits are that you're working with, and how powerful you felt the magic working, and the results that manifest from it. And so, I did have a really powerful experience working with archangels of magic. Just the one time that I did work with it, I really felt like I did an invocation to Gabriel, and I
Mm-hmm.
that just that glimpse of that archangel energy, and I can post like a link to that video if anyone hasn't seen it yet. Just a glimpse of that archangel energy was so immense, it was so powerful, truly. And it took me a long time to work with that book when I got it, because I think I wasn't quite ready, because I wanted to do an evocation or an invocation, and I just wasn't quite ready to like deal with that level of connection, that level of power. Um, at that point, eventually I got there, but I had sensed just beforehand, like, okay, like, not to say that the archangels are, any greater than or less than like the other angels and the demons and stuff, but I could just sense that, okay, this is like some serious shit that I'm gonna be working with, when by the time I do work with it. And it was like, just even from the one invocation I've done, is super powerful book. Um, Demons and Magic, I believe 100% wholeheartedly. It was a powerful evocation that we did, and of King Paimon. And I do know like the people that have worked with it have incredible results, like most of the time. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of strong spirits in there. One book that's really coming to mind, which I'd be curious your thoughts on it too, I feel like you might agree, is Magical Seduction.
Yeah.
I
Oh, that
Yeah,
one was powerful too.
yeah, right? Yeah, yeah.
You know that kid that's on my lap, the reason that I'm not on video?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly, exactly. I mean, like I remember when we met, or well, not when we
Yeah,
first, but later on, and you were doing that book, and now your life is, here you are, like unfolded into
yeah,
this beautiful family.
yeah. It's a two-way street for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
It wasn't like mind-bending manipulation of the universe against somebody's will. There was
right,
already
right.
some chemistry there. It kind of just connected it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It builded it, maybe, added a little bit of fuel to the fire, but the fire was already
Hmm.
there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and and I agree in the sense that like I've never used that book for like trying to get someone to love me that like I don't have any sort of relationship with already or connection with. I've actually never done the ritual that you did of turning attraction into love or whatever.
Hmm.
But I have done the ritual to create an aura of attraction, and the ritual of attracting a specific person. And man, it's like in the moment when doing that magic, those spirits of lust are so powerful.
Oh yeah.
Like the candles, like the whenever I've done it, the candle flames will are so tall. Like I can just, and as you're
Hmm.
chanting that, as I'm chanting those names, I can really feel that energy. And even with just like creating an aura of attraction, it's just like this radiance that we project whenever we're done, that attracts essentially people to us, or what, and creating this aura of attraction. But it's really in the moment when you're doing the magic, like that power that I feel, that's like, oh man, like I'm doing magic.
Hmm.
Like this isn't just me reading a book. This is like actual
Yeah.
something.
Like
And
there's real stuff in there.
yeah, there is real stuff in there for sure. And even with the first ritual, that one had a tremendous effect on just attracting attracting the specific person. That, was also years ago, and it didn't end up in any relationship or anything. I have like another video on that if people want to check that out. Um but yeah, but just like the power of the results, the power of feeling the spirits in the moment. And of course, like a lot of it has to do with the energy and attention that we're putting into the magic. um but when you do that, like let's assume that we try to give it our all no matter what magic we're doing. I would probably put like magical seduction as number 2, like maybe tied with
Mm,
number 1.
yeah.
Just because of from that aspect. Um,
Damn. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think of
yeah,
that. I think I would have to agree with you now after hearing what you said and like literally looking at the real life results that I got from it. Yeah, I mean
right.
it's up there. It may even rival wealth magic for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like those are the two topics. But in the defense of magical seduction, I've only used it a handful of times.
Yeah,
Wealth magic, I did it for like over a year total. So,
sure. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And magical seduction isn't something that you really do that or that I've never really done very
yeah,
often or anything, and
yeah.
it's only for like 5 nights or something.
Mm-hmm.
So different. And I do agree that like wealth magic is also super powerful, and that a lot of the rituals in there, um they're all powerful, but some there were definitely more where I would feel that connection to the spirit even more intensely than I did another ritual,
Mm-hmm.
and since I know you mentioned you haven't like bought any books since like 2018, 2019 or so, and there have been some others that have come out like Success Magic. um
Hmm.
and then Damon Brand actually just released a new book called Financial Transformation Magic,
Interesting.
which I've had a lot of questions about. Like people are already looking for a review and everything, and so I would like, I will get a review out as soon as I can. Aw, I hear your son. And I don't have an answer to how those compare yet to Wealth Magic, since I'm not completed with them. Maybe in like another 6 months to a year, I can make another video and about this topic and see if my answer has changed at all. But I can't discount Wealth Magic. Like, I can't say that Wealth Magic isn't powerful either, because of the tremendous impact and results that that's had on my life as well. Um, and also, like, I feel like the podcast that was started because of it, the connections that we've made because of it, all come into account of its power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just how it's connected us to a community, like, and to other people that are seeking the same thing. And I do know that there are a lot of people that are concerned by the demon in that book. And this financial transformation magic book that Damon Brand released is not, there's no demons. Um so it's more geared towards people who aren't, well, it's just, I don't know, more friendly. That's not the right term, but it's not going to scare anyone off for having
Yeah.
a demon in it. And not to say that demons are what make wealth magic powerful, but it did have like a huge impact on my life. So out of the books I've worked with, to summarize, I would say like almost wanting to put Magical Seduction at number 1, but Magical Seduction, Archangels of Magic, and Wealth Magic for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah, what were your experiences with Demons of Magic like?
So, okay, I've used it a couple times, right? And I've
Mhm.
spoken to Belial, but and I have vague, but I mean it's not vague, it's very subtle hints that every now and again I feel like I sense him somewhere. I
Mm.
honestly don't even remember what I asked him to do. It might have been a long-term thing, hence why I think of him often.
Mm.
Well, okay, when I say often, I mean like the times I spoke with him were back in 2018, like a lot during 2018, I think, and maybe once or twice in 2019. But like, yeah, I don't remember. Oh, now okay, I'm having a flashback because I had this sigil sitting somewhere in my office, and I had it like tucked away for later because they ask you to do that with one of the spirits in wealth magic. So I had done that with Belial's sigil as well, and I found it like 2, 3 years later. I was like,
Mm.
whoa, okay. And ever since then, I get like hints every 3, 4 months. Something reminds me of him. Like, oh, hey, hello,
Hmm.
like just randomly. But like I said, I
Interesting.
don't even remember what I asked him to do. But I don't remember any of the things. It's been so long, you know? It's
Yeah.
like going on 7 years now.
Yeah.
So almost a
Gosh.
decade that since I've worked out of that, except for that time in New Orleans.
Hmm.
Um, and honestly, that was like an interesting experience in and of itself because it was like doing it as a group, but also like really trying to decode the formula. It's
Hmm.
so complex. Like you have to put some brain power into thinking about various things, and then you have to have uh the ability to imagine 3 or 4 different things at the same time, like the smell of sandalwood and the texture of silk at the same
Hmm.
time, in addition to like the taste of like a blood with iron or something. It's
Hmm.
like mind-blowingly difficult, but we did it, and
Yeah.
I had an experience with payment,
Mm.
and I was like just the actual ritual itself. That was powerful. And part of it
Yes.
probably because we did it as a group, like there's got to be that at least accounted for.
Yes,
And
definitely.
the placebo effect, like the man, this is so badass. Like we're doing it in a dark room with a little
Hmm.
candle and like all that thing and all chanting at the same time. Like, man, that was like I don't think I've ever experienced anything like it, you
I
know?
haven't either. Yeah.
So whether the results came or not, that action was
Hmm.
powerful because there was intention behind it. But
Yes.
I have had results. I'm not gonna sit here and brag about a book that I didn't get results from.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I agree that, I mean, just the act of performing that magic was intensely powerful. Um, Especially being with a group. That was the only time I've done magic in a group setting. And it was almost like what you see in the movies, like when you're chanting all together and you're waiting
yeah.
for this entity to appear in this dark corner or whatever, and it was like that. We were all in this dark room, candlelit room, chanting these sounds, and this demon appears in front of us. I mean, you can't say that that's not powerful, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, shit, like, and the results did manifest. They did manifest, definitely.
Hmm.
I think at the time, personally, my intentions were a little not unclear, but it wasn't as aligned with what I truly wanted as I thought, but there still were results. There still were results, definitely. Um, but it's like that path is something that I'm still on, but it's not my main focal point, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. Um, so yeah, so and like it's not to say that like the other books like Words of Power, Greater Words of Power, Archangels of no, Angels of Alchemy, Mystical Words of Power, all of those like aren't powerful. Um, but I think it's just so it's a subtler power, and they
Hmm.
still work. But when I'm using the term power, I'm thinking of like a I mean, what do like a jet fueled like
Yeah.
engine or something that's with like powerful, something that's gonna erupt a volcano. Like imagine like big powers, and those are
Yeah.
powerful. It's just more subtle, and
Mm-hmm.
so they don't quite make it on there. And plus the rituals being so simple, and not to discount the simplicity of magic like that, but it's like in the moment I don't necessarily always feel such a strong energetic charge or like electric charge or
Right.
magnetic connection or something. And maybe I'm wrong for trying to compare this level of power with the energy that's being stirred up at the time compared to when it's not, because they're really focusing on different things. When I'm invoking an archangel, it's for a different reason than when I'm using words of power,
Mm-hmm.
like to maybe boost my speaking abilities or something for a moment, rather than like invoking this energy that an archangel is able to give me. Um and so it's just different levels of power. So yeah, so by saying like naming these books that we're naming, like it's not to say the other ones aren't powerful, but it's like where have I personally felt the most power at work when working with these books?
Mm-hmm.
And those are my answers so far. And I will say too, I know you haven't worked with this one yet. Magical Destiny is a really good one where
Hmm.
you're connecting with your holy guardian angel. It's like one of the newer books. And I also have a video on that one too. And I did feel results. Like I do feel very strongly this energy of like my holy guardian angel. And it's very real, and I do sense it. And I'm only mentioning it because like there's still a power there, just like all the magic, really, all the magic books. Like you will feel whenever you're calling on some sort of spirit, like there's a power. It's powerful to feel that spirit in any capacity that you do feel it. And I know not everybody feels spirits and energies in the same way, so that's not the only definition of what makes a book powerful. A lot of it has to do with like the results and the how it's changed our life, whether or not we're really having this intense experience with the spirit. But it is just another one where the act of doing the magic was powerful, and the results, which were not hugely transformative results, but more short-term results that I've experienced so far, were powerful too. So I would maybe put that, yeah, a little lower down the list. I'm not trying to make the list too long, just kind of
Yeah.
focusing on what we think the most powerful ones are. But but I think there's something to be said for magical seduction and the power of sex magic or sex
Mm.
energy, and that life force energy that those rituals stir up in us, because it's really, if you're doing that full ritual, you have the option to masturbate, right? And you have the
Mm-hmm.
option to really put that energy, that orgasmic, climactic energy into the ritual. And that
Exactly.
is like the most powerful energy on earth, or one of them, because
Yeah.
it's that creative energy, right? It's that life force energy. And I think that alone just contributes to like the magnitude of energy that's being put into the rituals. And that's optional. You don't have to like masturbate and do all that, but if you
Yeah.
do, like, it skyrockets the results, I think, based on my experience. So yeah, so just kind of hand in hand with the power and the energy there.
Yeah. So it's interesting because you mentioned those other books, and I do want to also touch on like words of power. Like there's definitely uh times and places where they work, and I almost feel like it's a trap to kind of talk about which one is the most powerful, because
Mm.
I hope like onlookers or people who are listening trying to figure out which one they want to buy because they want to get the biggest results possible. So they go straight for the ones that we say is the most powerful. I don't know if that's the right way of looking at it, especially for the people who are listening. I mean, it's one way of looking at it for sure.
Hmm.
The sexual energy is by far. I agree. It's like because it's an actual physical energy that you expend. I've seen some people in different types of magical communities. I've never really done this, but use blood because it's like
Mm,
a similar thing too. You're actually contributing some part of the physical realm, life force, and it's just the same with sexual energy. You're just not mutilating yourself to achieve that.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, like because there's that level of contribution from this plane, it of course is very powerful because
Yes.
you're literally transmuting an actual energetic sensation into something else.
Yeah.
Now, there's words of power, which I think is extremely accessible. And I think that if people are like on the fence of trying to figure out, did they want to get into it, want to get into magic, they want to start dabbling, they want to start understanding what it is, like that's a great launching point, honestly. It's like small practical spells that they can cast for themselves with results to help them push them over the edge to
Yeah.
make them think, oh yeah, this does work. And then they can
Yeah.
graduate up into the next level.
Hmm.
So but the archangels, the demons and the other magic that they are a little bit complex. It might take a novice by surprise with how complex they could be.
Yeah.
Wealth magic was like right in the middle. It's not really that complex. They spell it out extremely effectively, like exactly what you need to do. But
Hmm.
for someone who hasn't really experienced it, they may not know. I mean, I'll be honest. Like when I made my first video, I got all sorts of people asking like nuanced questions. Like one of the rituals of wealth magic was opening a portal and reaching in and grabbing a pot of gold or something.
Hmm.
And they were like, I think I did it wrong. Is this right? Is this wrong? Like,
Hmm.
it can be confusing, but
Hmm.
I don't think you have any of that with the words of power or
Yeah.
others like that or sigils. Is it sigils of power too?
Um, I think so. Or Sigils of Trans for
Yeah,
Magic. I don't actually have that book, but yeah, Sigils of.
there is that book. It's very similar. Like it's so straightforward. You rarely have people asking for clarity on, is this the correct way to do it? Am I doing it wrong? Am I doing it right? Things like that. So
Yeah.
it's very accessible, is what I'm trying to say.
True. It is. It is. And honestly, like the books that we've mentioned as the most powerful are not books that I started with at the beginning of my magical journey. Wealth Magic was not long into it, of course, but it was also because I had like I knew people that like you that were also doing it that I was more inclined to begin it
Yeah.
myself. So that made a huge difference. Otherwise, like I don't know when I would have started it. It obviously didn't happen that way. But like it took me years, excuse me, to work with Archangels of Magic, even years after owning the book. Like I owned the book and then I worked with it like years later. So Magical Seduction I had and I did it like years ago once um and it worked, but then I started putting more energy into it and really had stronger results. But yeah, and Demons of Magic, like again, only reason I worked with that at the time in the group setting is because I was with a group. Now I would have no problem working with it on my own. I just haven't and don't right now. But I'm not intimidated by it anymore. I'm not like, oh, this is too much. But yeah, in the beginning of your magical journey, like I would be surprised if anyone jumped right into Demons of Magic because it is just a lot to untangle, or it's just a lot to, it's complex. It's very complex and you
Mhm.
want to do it right. And it's just jumping into like maybe the more advanced magic right away. So, which if you're capable of doing that, go for it. But there are other books too that sort of allow you to see like the ones we mentioned, Words of Power, Sigils of Magic and Transformation, or Sigils of Power, whatever that book is. Even the
The
Servant's
name
book.
escapes me too, so I apologize.
Yeah, that's okay. um Even those, like, they're still powerful, and it's a good way to see and introduce the power of magic in like a simpler form. Um,
Mhm.
which can honestly, or now I'm kind of getting for taking this power thing a little further, because that can be powerful in and of itself, is because it's like an opening a doorway, into the greater stuff. So just a different level, different kind of power. Um,
Mhm.
but it's not the most jam packed with power, and like you said, like the giving of blood, and just to clarify, like I don't, there's like, I've personally worked with no Gallery of Magic book that requires that. Perhaps Demons of Magic, I think that's something you do with like demons, and you're not ever like sacrificing anything. I mean, yes, in some other magical branches, that's a thing. In some other magical branches, they require more blood. But in this case, like working with Cloudneck, sometimes you can give him like a drop of blood. It's nothing crazy. So just not to scare off anybody that's like, oh my God, blood.
Mhm.
Um, but like you said, like blood is life force energy too. So there is a power behind transmuting that physical offering essentially into the
Mhm.
spiritual realm, especially when it's something that's coming from inside of us, right? And so that isn't necessary, from what I understand, in a lot of rituals that ask for blood, but it's just sort of like an extra boost. It's just an extra battery charge to fuel up your magic and make it more powerful. But
Mhm.
most of the time, from what I know, at least in the Gallery of Magic, like if you're not okay with that, like don't do it. Don't do
Mhm.
it. So yeah. So, do you have any other thoughts on power and the books and stuff? Because I feel like we've kind of covered a lot of ground here with
I
the.
don't think I necessarily have anything to add to that. I think you segued it out very perfectly. Like it's just you don't have to jump into it if you don't want to. There are many things that you can do that's
Mhm,
probably ideal. Your experience is like that. Even my experience is like that too.
mhm,
Um, well, I'll be honest. Wealth Magic, I think, was my first,
mhm.
but I was just like already into the occult. I was like I didn't actually
Yeah,
practice it, but I was like pretty deep into research mode. So
gotcha.
I wasn't like introduction, but I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't want to give people too much and like name other things, but I think it's good food for thought, and I'd be curious to hear anybody else's opinions on what you think the most powerful books are. There's other books that we haven't mentioned that I think are that I know are powerful too. It's just I didn't want to throw out like every book and rank it, which maybe we could do that in another video. Rank the
Hmm.
power of like every book. Because like 72 Angels of Magic, very powerful also. It's just comparatively like didn't make the top two or three slots, so but still very powerful, still had great results with that, and same with a lot of the others. So maybe in a couple years, as I do more books, and if you ever get back into more books, we can update some videos. But I think it's funny with your kid sitting in your lap is like proof of
Yeah,
the power.
yeah, isn't that funny? Oh
Yeah.
man, that's so crazy. But yeah, I had a wonderful time catching up and talking
Yeah.
about this stuff, and I'm curious about the financial and the other one too, the success too. I'm gonna look
Yes.
into them. I may not end up buying them, probably wouldn't even end up using them, but I'm definitely curious enough to look into it because
Yeah.
though it's funny because that's in the last few years when the economic times have been a little bit tough on people. So I think there was a reason that he launched those two books. So it's very helpful to
Yeah.
the people that may be needing it. So he's
Exactly.
very
Yeah.
in tune with people.
Definitely. Yeah. Success Magic is kind of older. It's another one I've had for like several years, but only recently
Okay.
started it. But
Hmm.
it's an Enochian magic. Go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And then, but he
Interesting.
did just release Financial Transformation Magic like within the last month. So,
Oh,
um,
cool.
yeah. Yeah. You should check it out however you check it out, but definitely.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Cool. Well, Arjuna, it's been great to have you on the channel. It's
it
always so
is
good to catch
wonderful.
up with you. I love doing these videos with you, and hopefully we can do another one again at some point.
Huh?
Um, and I know everybody's always like excited when you're on the channel too. It's like a
Oh,
little,
that's good.
Yeah, like a little celebrity friend coming back. So
Oh, come
yeah.
on. I'm just a regular guy.
I know. Yeah, me too. But that's cool because we're out here being regular people, showing people that like magic is accessible and doable by regular
Uh-huh.
people. So yeah.
Yeah, and I do hope that people do get value out of that aspect of it. Like, we are real people, and this is a topic that everybody's always hiding their face, hiding who they are. Like, you don't actually get to hear from. I mean, they're obviously real people, but it's just like not as relatable as us who are willing to open up and actually be. I mean, obviously we use pseudonyms,
Right,
but
yeah.
at least they can put face to the name. They can kind of see what we're up to. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was awesome. Thank you for inviting me, Pixie. I really
Of
appreciate it.
course. Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far to the video, comment your thoughts on what we said and what you think the most powerful books are. And everybody have a happy April. And stay kind, stay curious. Arjuna, again, thank you so much. I love you.
Hmm. Love you
And
too.
and until next time, guys. Peace.